We're back on the ice for our next shift. It's time for our latest edition of the Odd Man Rush.
Elms fakes, rips a shot, he scores! It's a power play goal! To Cooper down the slot to Grzinski. What a blocker save by Michael Bitzer! Mercier, one-time shot. He scores! The Rush get their first win of the season. Pierre-Luc Mercier wins it. To the blue line, Elms fakes, rips a shot, he scores! It's a power play goal! Josh Elms gets his first goal in his ECHL career, and with 14-13 left in the game, we finally have the goal, and it belongs to the Rush. It's 1-0.
Welcome to another edition of the Odd Man Rush here on Midco Sports Network. With the head coach, Daniel Tatro, this is Mark Benetti alongside you for your weekly check-in on everything that you need to know about the Rapid City Rush. What do you exactly need to know for this week? Well, my goodness, they just came off of one heck of a weekend of hockey, a 3-game and 3-night series with the Allen Americans. The Rush took points in all 3 games, 4 out of 6 available on the weekend, and what great success they saw. Let's start off all the heart attacks induced throughout the entire weekend with Friday's game. The Rush were trailing 2-0 heading into the third period before Andrew Rajenovic scored a 5-on-3 power play goal. That was followed by Adam Marsh's second goal of his pro career to tie things up and eventually force overtime. Michael Bitzer and the Rush survived an onslaught in 3-on-3 in the final minute of the extra session before going to a shootout and unfortunately falling to the Americans by a final of 3-2. Then Saturday, the unthinkable happens. The team is down 5-0 with 34 minutes and 27 seconds of regulation left, and then Alec Bear and Cedric Momany score in the second period after a goaltending change to make it 5-2. And then in the third period, it's Garrett Klotz and the captain Riley Weslowski exchanging goals 42 seconds apart to bring them within 1. And then Andrew Rajenovic gets the game-tying goal, and the impossible became possible. The Rush came back from 5 goals down to force overtime, but unfortunately suffered a heartbreaking defeat 6-5 thanks to Allen captain Joe Schwinnard's game winner. And then on Sunday, Adam Carlson stopped all 40 shots that he saw, and after 35 minutes and 47 seconds of scoreless hockey, Josh Elm scores his first goal in his ECHL career on the power play. Darby Llewellyn scores 16 seconds later, and the Rush take a 2-0 win. Now we're officially joined by the head coach of the Rapid City Rush and by co-host for the show, Daniel Tatro. Coach, after describing all of that, my heart rate started going up a bit. So how is your heart doing after the weekend?
Unbelievable weekend of hockey. Up and down, and the third periods were fantastic. Being down 2-0 Friday, tying it up at 2, unfortunately losing in a shootout, and then what can I say, Saturday, down by 5 against a very good, talented team like Allen, and score 5 in a row to tie it 5-5. So proud of the guys. That just shows a lot of character. Eventually we lost in overtime, but still a huge point, and then that got us momentum into Sunday's win. Big 2-0 win, and quite the performance by our goaltender, Adam Carlson.
For the vast majority of the weekend, goaltending was the story of the series against Allen. C.J. Mott, Michael Bitzer on Friday night, and then it was Jeremy Brodeur and Adam Carlson on Sunday. What did you like so much about the goaltending battles back and forth?
It was incredible goaltending performances by both clubs. Mott was incredible for Allen. Bitzer on Friday was unbelievable. Especially in the overtime, they peppered Michael with 9 shots on goal. Tyler Polson had broken his stick in zone, so it was 3-on-3 for a bit there. So, but we hung on and forced the shootout. But overall, it was great.
Now let's talk about Saturday, because that to me is the defining turning point of the weekend. You're down 5-0 halfway through the game. What was your mood? What was your message on the bench right after Allen made it 5-0?
Well, there's that no quit attitude in my players. I know they're young, but they're so hungry, and it shows great character, and that comeback is unbelievable. One for the ages, I was real proud.
We're going to sit down with Adam Carlson later on the show, and one of the questions I wanted to ask him was, as he saw his team slowly come back, at what point did he think, you know what, we've got this? So I'm going to ask you the same question. As the game went on, at what point did you realize, you know what, we're coming back and we're going to tie this thing up?
Well, I was at the end of the second. We got the second goal, and that made it 5-2, and we were feeling pretty good about ourselves going in the locker room after the second period. And what I told the guys in between periods, that if we get a quick one here, make it 5-3, they're going to pucker up. So, and indeed, we made it 5-3 and then 5-4, and then their bench was just rattled, you could tell. And then finally we got the equalizer from Rajenovic, and For the fans out there, it was unbelievable. My dad was down from Winnipeg, and he said he hasn't seen hockey like this in a long time. So.
Now, you take all of this into account from the start of the season to now. You're outscoring teams in the third period, in particular by a 9-4 score. What do you like about your team's ability to close, especially as evidenced this weekend?
Well, now they have that confidence that they know they can come back from any score against any team. And they're in great shape. They're young, so they got fresh legs. I've got extra bodies too, so if guys are a little banged up, I can insert new players that are rested, and that makes a difference in the third period.
Well, Coach, hang tight. We're not done with you just yet. We still have to talk about the Tulsa Oilers. Folks, coming up, we have my one-on-one interview with the ace himself, Adam Carlson, and then we'll have part 2 of my interview with Steve Pops coming up later in the show.
Now is a great time to own the Honda CR-V, a 2018 KBB.com Best Buy. It's an SUV with smooth handling and excellent power delivery, and plenty of space for you and your passengers. So find out for yourself why the Honda CR-V is ready for adventure. Hurry into your Honda dealer to find a great deal on a 2018 KBB.com Best Buy.
In 1980, we had the duel between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. The hometown boy and Randy pins the Russian, and I think the Civic Center was the loudest I've ever heard it. Seeing Randy Lewis wrestling there and then participating myself in wrestling in my own state high school wrestling tournament at the Civic Center later on, that takes it from being the most spectacular, amazing, world-class event to a very local, meaningful, personal thing. Without the Civic Center, we'd never have that.
Strengthen your professional image with products and services from Servall and Image-All. Businesses across the region have counted on Servall to make sure they look their best, creating a positive impression when their customers walk through the door and beyond. And now Image-All, an operating partner of Servall Uniform and Linen Supply, beautifully complements the 4th-generation family-owned and operated business. Image-All is the place to go for great apparel and quality custom embroidery. Let us help make sure your company looks its absolute best. Serving our community since 1916.
To the far side. Atkinson's there. Klotz absolutely destroys Chad Butcher. Pushing and shoving. Shot taken. Stopped by Carlson. He gets a save and he gets a whistle. 39.3 seconds left in the game. And the Rush lead is still preserved at 2-0.
You heard the highlight just moments ago, folks, and now I'm joined by the gentleman who helped put that exclamation point on the weekend series against the Allen Americans. To my left is Rush goaltender Adam Carlson. Adam, thank you so much for the time. As always, it's great to be with you and talking about hockey. All I can simply say after the last 3 days we've had is what a weekend.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, first of all. Yeah, what a weekend is about all you can say about that. Pretty wild. We had a ton of offense, a ton of defense, and great goaltending too by Bitsy, and then the performance on Sunday, which was a blast too.
Now let's dive back to Saturday first. Obviously not the most ideal circumstance to make your Rush debut in. Team's down 3-0, and poor Michael, just the whole team really just had a rough go of it the first 10 minutes. But you started to settle into your own. How did you get ready for that demand right off the hop with the team staring down the barrel of a 3-goal deficit at the time?
I was just excited to get in net. After, 4 or 5 months of just, shouldn't say sitting on the couch, but not playing in games, I was beyond excited to get in the net and just start to get back to work. They got 2 power play goals, and it was just kind of one of those things where it's just like, well, whatever. It can't get much worse from here, so just keep playing hard, and look what happened. I mean, we had a team that came back around. We showed a lot of grit and a lot of courage, actually, out of that group, and it was fun to just be a part of that, and to be able to spark that. Actually, Tatsy sparked it by making the goaltending change, and that kind of put a fire underneath everybody, and came out pretty positive at the end of it.
Now let's go through the entire comeback itself. 5-1, 5-2 at the end of the second period, and then 2 quick goals 42 seconds apart to make it 5-4. then Andrew Regenevic comes up with the big game-tying goal. So at one point, you're sitting on the complete opposite side of all of this offense. At what point in your mind did you say to yourself, we got this, we're going to make the comeback?
Once we got that third goal, it was just one of those things. Like the first two goals, I'd go and do my skate around, and I was just like, all right, we got some work to do here. And then by the third goal, I just started laughing, and it was just like, we're gonna do this. Like, this is ridiculous. If you had a close up on me, I'm literally like grinning from ear to ear the entire time. And I felt it after the third goal, and you could see it in Allen. They were tripping the puck up when they were regrouping in the defensive zone without any pressure. Like, guys were just heel picking, and it was just like, we got this. We got them on their heels, and a couple bad bounces in overtime, and couldn't get possession, but did come out on top. But it was fun to be a part of.
Well, if you were grinning ear to ear on Saturday, I got to see the grin ear to ear on Sunday after the win, and I said, my goodness, what a great performance. And you said, that was the most fun I've had in a long time.
Yeah, it's past couple years of pro, it's been a little bit of a tough go. Haven't had the greatest success, but the only way you can get there is to just put your head down and just grind through it. And coming back from the minor injury to start the year, and after a long time of not playing in games, coming in and doing that, especially after the weekend that we had to come out with 6 out of the last 8 points, like, it was just an awesome way to do it, and hopefully we can keep it rolling in the next couple of weeks here.
You referenced the next talking point, that your past, the past couple of years, they've been successful but trying, and then leading up to that point, your past has been an incredible motivator. What is it about your past that just drives you every day?
It's just proving people wrong. There's always somebody to prove wrong. There's always someone who doesn't believe in you, and when someone doesn't believe in me, it's like, well, you're gonna have to, because it's gonna happen. That's the mindset that I've always had, and seems to be working out all right.
What are your expectations this week? Another 3-3 against Tulsa.
I'm expecting wins. We got to have a winning mentality going into it, and if you don't expect that, you're not going to achieve that. So we're setting the bar high. I want 3 wins. I think Tessie does, Nello does, everybody. We're coming into a hot team here. They got what? They're 5-1. Is that what it is?
4-0-1.
4-0-1. So they're a good team, off to a hot start, but we got a good young team here that doesn't quit, as we've learned this past weekend, and even after the weekend that we had in Utah, to come back and bounce back the way we did, not this past weekend, the weekend before, shows a lot about our team.
Adam, thank you so much for the time. As always, it's been a pleasure. Folks, before we dive into our trivia question, we're going to jump into some uncharted territory. The stats and the numbers are ready. Now we just need to play some hockey and put them all together and see what exact trends come out of this week's series against the Tulsa Oilers. Looking to the past, the Rush last year played against Tulsa in 7 games and they went over 500, albeit by 1 game, going 4-3. With this series starting off in Tulsa, the Rush record last year was 2-1 in the 3 appearances that they made. Last year's series was very interesting because the Rush saw some success against Tulsa, but not because of the help of their power play. They had 1 power play goal on 21 opportunities against the Oilers, compared to Tulsa, who went 4 for 31, going at roughly 12.9%. So while the percentage is very low in that respect, Tulsa found success with their special teams. Tulsa comes into this series one of the last 3 undefeated teams in the league in 60 minutes of regulation. They are 4 wins, 0 losses in regulation, 0 in overtime, but 1 in a shootout. The other 2 teams, just for the record, the Utah Grizzlies, also in the Mountain Division, and the Jacksonville Icemen, who are the last perfect team period in the league at a perfect 5-0 through 5 games. Tulsa has the 2nd best defense in the entire ECHL behind Jacksonville. They've only allowed an average of 2.4 goals per game. They have outstanding goaltending and a veteran-laden defense core coming up against the Rush this weekend. However, their special teams is on a tad bit of a downturn at 4.5%. They are 26th out of 27 in the league. They only have 1 power play goal in 24 opportunities through their 5 games this season. A lot of familiarity between both the Oilers and the Rush this year, in particular Peter Sivak, who a lot of Rush fans are thinking, oh my goodness, we have to play that guy. He was the leading scorer for the Rush last year. In 58 games after being acquired in a trade with the Utah Grizzlies, he put up 60 points and a +4 rating with the Rush. This year with the Oilers, he has 5 points in 5 games. Charlie Sampera, who was the Oilers' leading scorer last year with 61 points in 71 games on a career season, is coming back. And then Steven Perfetto, who last played in the ECHL with the Alaska Aces in the 16-17 season, has just been reassigned from the American Hockey League affiliate of the Tulsa Oilers in San Antonio. That'll do it for this week's edition of Uncharted Territory. But before we get to our next segment, here's this week's trivia question. Adam Carlson just secured his first win in a Rapid City Rush uniform by virtue of the shutout on Sunday, as we had just mentioned. Who was the last Rush goaltender to get their first win with the team by virtue of a shutout? We'll have the answer on the other side of the break.
I remember about the time the Civic Center had been built, and I was able to do Les Sylphies in the Civic Center Theater for the first time, and it was exhilarating. It was the first time we had had something of that magnitude. For every dancer who steps on a professional stage, it's hallowed ground when we're able to inspire a new group of kids who understand what that crazy nutcracker character is, evokes images that inspire them to dream bigger.
Strengthen your professional image with products and services from Servall and Image-All. Businesses across the region have counted on Servall to make sure they look their best, creating a positive impression when their customers walk through the door and beyond. And now Image-All, an operating partner of Servall Uniform and Linen Supply, beautifully complements the 4th-generation family-owned and operated business. Image-All is the place to go for great apparel and quality custom embroidery. Let us help make sure your company looks its absolute best. Serving our community since 1916.
Before you buy, shop Gateway Autoplex. Are you looking to trade your vehicle and get ready for winter? Well, stop into the nicest pre-owned inventory of Fords, Lincolns, Dodges, Chevys, and save thousands. Hey, and Gateway's looking for some more inventory, so if you want to sell your car, truck, or SUV, stop on down for an offer today.
So for the best car buying experience in Rapid City or the best credit rebuilder program, stop down to 410 North Campbell Street.
Or call us at 605-385-0400.
I'm Scott Hanna.
And I'm Adam Ray.
And nobody, I mean nobody,
beats a Gateway deal.
We need our community volunteers to help us to provide a broader view of the many ways a good education can point to a bright future.
Our team at Black Hills Energy partners with schools to help students learn more about life outside the classroom. Extracurricular, extra fun.
Before we continue with this edition of the Odd Man Rush, here's the answer to this week's trivia question. As we mentioned moments ago, Adam Carlson just got his first win in a Rush uniform by virtue of a shutout in net. Who was the last goaltender to accomplish their first win with the Rush by virtue of the shutout? And the answer is Aiden Hill. Aiden Hill got the Rush their first home shutout in almost 4 years of hockey against the Alaska Aces on December 21st, 2016. He stopped 30 shots on net in getting the Rush a big 4-0 win prior to the Christmas holiday. Back on the first episode of the Odd Man Rush, we had a special interview with ECHL Hall of Famer and guest coach of the Rush, Steve Pops, and we talked about how his career trajectory led him to eventually start from the ECHL all the way to the National Hockey League, eventually culminating in becoming a coach at the American Hockey League level and getting enshrined into the ECHL Hall of Fame. We now continue with part 2 of my sit-down with Steve Pops.
Well, Popper, thanks so much for the time again today. It's been really special catching up with everybody that's come in to help out with training camp. Not your first rodeo with us. Last year you came and helped out throughout various points of the season, including camp, and now you're starting your second year of that. What ultimately led you to come in the first place to help us out even last year?
You know, I'm good friends with Nello, and we helped him out throughout years and go back a long time through coaching with the Chicago Steel USHL, and he was there all the time, and I work with him all the time in the summer, you know, up until those points where we're still playing and still, you know, involved in the game as a player, and even post that. So we do it, and it's just like I want to do this, but I only want to do it if, you know, I get some help from people like myself and Sopel and other people to come in and throughout the year. And I said, no, not a problem. I think it'll be an interesting experience. I really enjoyed it last year. Kind of call it myself as a consultant to the team, and you know, the role is really good. There's no pressure, and you know, background of coaching and what I've done and experience, and these guys coming in last year as 2 rookie coaches that I just told them it's like a rookie player coming in to play in any level, East Coast, American League, NHL. They need some help, they need some guidance, and coaches are no different in those situations.
What's it been like to see both Coach Tétrault and Coach Farrar grow? And you've witnessed this firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, I've been through it. I've been there, so it's passing along an experience of doing it. And the biggest thing is, like, as a young coach, you want everything to go exactly right, exactly perfect, and it doesn't. And there's things that that you got to learn to sit back and take a deep breath and realize that you're the guy that's in charge here, and your tone's going to set the temperature for the room and how these guys are going to respond. And you just kind of sometimes have to, look, hey, no big deal. We've been through this. We know how to deal with this, and it's just helping guide through that. That here's what you got to do. Here's a situation. Just deal with it this way, and be firm here. Get on these guys now. But ultimately, it's just like they need direction. They need guidance, and when they get that, good things happen.
Now, you saw them last year. You saw them all through last year. Now you've seen them in camp this week. What do you think, or if there's anything you've noticed, what do you think is the biggest thing they learned from last year to starting off this camp the way they have?
Well, I mean, coming in, and let me just backtrack a little bit, it's come in, I was just kind of here to kind of observe and advise, and when you come in those situations, it's a little bit tough that you don't want to come in and take over and be in charge, but they got to find their own kind of, their own kind of identity of how they're going to coach and stuff, and then here just to support that. And then as it grew throughout the year last year, is gain their trust, and help with that is actually helping on the bench a little bit and give them a different voice, and sometimes that's a good thing. So now it's kind of like same thing, but I'm still not overstepping boundaries here. I'm still they're in charge. I'm still supporting them and trying to give them through this camp the best opportunity to be able to sit back and identify the players that are going to make this team.
How special is it, talking with Nello, he said in your time in the USHL in Chicago, you had 8 players that were taken out of the first or second round of the NHL draft, 5 of them being defensemen. How special is that to see all that hard work, not just pay off for the success of the team, but for the success of a person that you're putting so much of yourself into? Yeah,
it's you look at it and I go back and I wonder, like, did I really do that much for these guys, or are they just really good players? And and it goes back to, I provide a lot of direction to them, but it's about getting them through the the adversity and what they're going to face and what they need to do to get to the next level, and how they need to be carry themselves as a daily player, and coming to the rink every day and working hard and continuing to prove is kind of the lesson I got in my first 2 years in this league, and that's why I feel like the East Coast League is valuable for these young players coming in. That gives them an opportunity to learn how to be a pro under the proper environment, proper level for something. And I'll go back and say that this was the right path for me. The 2 years that I spent here was the right path for me in order to allow me to get the base to move on. But I look back at those guys, and some of them have been through here that I've coached at that Chicago Steel team. This camp, Richie Coyne's here. He was in a player that was with me in Chicago, and I still see some of them are still playing. But that one team that we had a lot of success, I think we had 15 or 16 players that played at some level of pro hockey. So we're dealing with quality players and quality people that just had a great time that being a part of that organization.
We'll have the finale of my interview with Steve Pops coming up in later editions of the Odd Man Rush. Coming up on the other side of the break, we're rejoined by the head coach Daniel Tetreault, and we'll preview the upcoming series against the Tulsa Oilers, another 3-game and 3-night series this weekend.
It's really busy in the coffee house, not just in the morning, but all day long. And it's really important that we serve our customers hot coffee that's ready for them when they're ready for it.
Our team at Black Hills Energy will make sure you have the electricity you need to keep that Java nice and hot. How about a cup for the road?
Now is a great time to own the Honda CR-V, a 2018 KBB.com Best Buy. It's an SUV with smooth handling and excellent power delivery, and plenty of space for you and your passengers. So find out for yourself why the Honda CR-V is ready for adventure. Hurry into your Honda dealer to find a great deal on a 2018 KBB.com Best Buy.
This week starts another 3-3 series where the Rush will take on the Tulsa Oilers on the road at the BOK Center. Every game starts at the exact same time this week. 6:05 Mountain Time puck drops on Thursday, November 1st, Friday, November 2nd, and Saturday, November 3rd. We're joined for the final segment once again by the head coach, Daniel Tatro. And coach, this is another 3-3 in back-to-back weeks. And as we talked about on the last show, this is week number 2 out of 8 in a row where you have a minimum of 3 games in the week. So recovery is going to be huge for your team this week.
Yeah, this is a big series coming up against Tulsa. They're 4-0-1, playing great hockey, but we're playing great hockey as well. So we're up for the challenge here. They work extremely hard. I've been cutting some video on them so I can show my guys what their tendencies are, and we just got to keep playing the same way and get our first road win starting Thursday.
They've got hot goaltending. They have a veteran defense core, and they've got a lot of speed up front in the likes of a Charlie Samper and Steven Perfetto coming back to the American League. So what are your initial reactions seeing this Tulsa paper on team and on the brief film you've watched?
Well, there's no roster as deep as Allen or Utah, so I'm not too worried about that. What I worry about is our game, and we got to play physical. I don't think they've seen a team play as physical as we do. The last 5 games, I believe it's taken a toll on the opposition, the way we play. We got to keep that shot mentality. We've been shooting the puck a lot more lately and getting net front presence, so we're not going to change a thing, and we're going to be ready to rock and roll Thursday.
You had to make an unfortunate transaction today releasing Mitch Nardi, but you picked up Pierre-Olivier Grandmaison on waivers, so now you've got 3 French guys to put on the French connection line. So what can we expect from Grandmaison in his Rush debut this week?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll play Thursday at all. I want him practicing. He hasn't skated in a while, so I'm going to keep the same lineup as I did the Sunday. But I want him practicing, get used to our system. But he will make the trip just in case. And releasing Nardi was a tough decision. But my roster is pretty full and had to make room for Grandmaison. Toughest part about being a coach is releasing guys. Good guys. Nardi was a great character kid, and it's always tough.
Now, real quick, Coach, before we cut off the show here, what can we expect from him if he gets in the lineup this week?
Well, he's a scorer. He's got a great release, great shot, big and strong, and can skate pretty well as well. So if he gets in the slot area, he could definitely do some damage.
Well, Coach, thank you so much, as always, for the time. Folks, that'll do it for our latest edition of the Odd Man Rush. We're going to put this show on the bench and get ready for our next shift on next week's edition here on Midco Sports Network.